Alright, before I get started with this video, I want to make myself perfectly clear. I do not think Chrono Odyssey is currently a good MMO. I'm not going to glaze this game like Demon Kim. I'm just one of the few people that continue playing this game, despite all the jank, trying to find if there's anything actually real underneath it. And just to save your time, there is actually a real MMO underneath all this jank. But that doesn't matter. If it released right now in this state, it would be dead on arrival. First impressions matter, and they absolutely dropped the ball here. It needs at least 1 to 2 years of additional development before they release it and make people pay money for it. I feel like that's a pretty big factor, by the way. This is a free closed beta, guys. Do I seriously need to bring up Ashes of Creation, a game that's raised millions of dollars from players, charged them to play a tech demo, and is expecting them to pay a sub fee when the game comes out? And look at it. It has worse combat, worse progression, worse graphics, worse optimization, worse servers, and in general is just shit compared to Chrono Odyssey, even in Chrono Odyssey's shit state, which says a lot. The reality is, beneath the jank, there is an actual MMO here, unlike these other tech demo MMOs. An MMO that could actually be good if they don't release it in this shit state and kill it. Which is exactly what happened to New World, by the way. Year 2 New World had one of the best combat I experienced in the genre, on par with BDO I'd even say. Launch day New World combat, on the other hand, was fucking trash. It took them 2 years to fix the clunky animations, CCs, and general fluidity of the combat, and even then it wasn't perfect. But you have to keep in mind, those are New World devs, so realistically, it would take actual developers around half the time, so 1 year, to fix the combat. That's why I say Chrono needs at least 1 to 2 years. 1 year for the combat, 1 more year for the remaining content. Maybe less because Koreans are built different than fucking American devs, but I'll be generous here. The combat right now, especially the PvP, is very similar to pre-beta New World, I'd say. But a little worse, obviously. The PvE is definitely a league ahead of New World, which I'll get into later, but of course it's overshadowed by the fucking jank. I honestly don't know what they were thinking putting out a beta in this state, when the game they showed in the trailers looks completely different. I don't know what they were expecting. It's incredibly out of touch, especially when this is an MMO like New World that reaches beyond the normal MMO audience into the mainstream audience. The standards for mainstream games are much higher than MMO games. Like, let's be real here, all the MMOs out right now are shit. They're all either dead, pay to win, tap target, 10 years old, or all of that combined, but we still eat them up as MMO players. Throne of Liberty is the perfect example here. No one played Throne of Liberty, at least I hope so, thinking it was the end-all be-all MMO. I went in with the mindset that it was a shitty, pay-to-win, rock-paper-scissors balance, tap-target MMO that was gonna die within a month. And you know what happened? The MMO genre is so down bad that I was wrong. It was a shitty, pay-to-win, rock-paper-scissors balance, tap-target MMO that died in 6 months, not 1. There's 2 types of MMO players in 2025. The majority being people that aren't even playing an MMO right now, and then the minority that is playing an MMO right now. Like, let's be honest with ourselves here. WoW is not alive, it's just surviving because of 30-year-olds living on their childhood nostalgia. Final Fantasy is only alive because of weeaboos and anime, and gets more of a population spike when a new mainstream anime comes out versus an actual game expansion. BDO is only semi-alive due to 2 sunk cost fallacies occurring at the same time, thousands of hours spent grinding in circles, and thousands of dollars spent over the course of 10 years. And those 3 are the only remaining semi-mainstream MMOs at this point. And for the first time in many years, we actually have an MMO coming out that the mainstream audience is interested in, or was at least. I'm not sure anymore after that beta, to be honest. The last time we had an MMO like this was New World and Lost Ark, with 1 million plus concurrent players. Everything after has been niche and often dead on arrival since then. I'm not going to fill the entire video with the obvious here. Lighting and textures need to be fixed, animations and general fluidity stuff need to be completely revamped, the optimization needs to be at least 3 times better than whatever the fuck it currently is. That's the main feedback everyone gave during this beta. But I want to get into the actual game itself. Chrono does a lot of things right beneath all that shit. For starters, just the fact that it's real action combat automatically puts it a league above tap target MMOs. Listen, I know there's lots of tap target fans out there, but the reality is, there's never going to be a mainstream tab target MMO again. I'm sure there will be semi-alive ones, like maybe 100 concurrent players at launch, but you're never going to see a new tab target MMO launch with 1 million concurrent players ever again. And you can quote me on that. As soon as you make it tab target, you lose the entire younger and modern gaming population. The MMO automatically becomes a niche. If Chrono was tab target, then it would have no excuse to be this shitty. But because it's action combat and the other action combat MMOs are dead, it has a spot it can take if it's improved on. On top of action combat, Chrono is obviously much more challenging than the regular MMO. I would even say it has the most challenging early game out of any MMO out right now. Other MMOs, even action combat ones, have such a boring and brain dead leveling process that I always end up picking a new show to watch in advance before they launch. BDO had this problem, New World had this problem, Lost Ark had this problem, Dawn of Liberty had this problem. I can't think of an MMO launch in the past decade that didn't have this problem. And I'm not trying to be elitist here. I don't think Chrono is some hardcore, high-skill MMO and all casuals should get good. If you can't beat the first boss, all you do is leave and come back when you're stronger. There should definitely be a pop-up though that says you can do that, by the way, after like 10 or so deaths. I saw so many people play Chrono up to that point and just quit the game and dog on it after. Not to dismiss these people, but I wouldn't even say they played Chrono at that point. They played a buggy single-player action RPG where they spawned on a beach at level 1, ran to a laggy town, and then fought a solo boss with 0 class skills and knowledge on how to actually play the game. The MMO equivalent of that is playing Guild Wars 2, killing 10 mobs with the 3 hotbar skills they give you, and then uninstalling the game after. Does that player have a right to critique the combat of Guild Wars 2? Not really. They can absolutely critique the first hour of the game though. That's on the devs of the game, not the player. So right off the bat, that's something Chrono should definitely focus on. Start people with all the base level skills unlocked at level 1 so they can properly enjoy the game and not quit the first hour. Ease them into the first boss instead of throwing them at it at the first hour and causing them to quit. Progression and life skill wise, it really just feels like a better New World in that regard. It's so refreshing being able to gather or mine something without some arbitrary level requirement for once. You don't have to go mine 5,000 rocks out in the world to level up your mining just to be able to mine a legendary mineral. You have a pickaxe, there's a fucking rock, just hit it. And then you can immediately use any material for crafting, like the legendary one you got, and get rewarded for it during the leveling process. You don't have to craft 5,000 gray armors just to level up your armoring to be able to craft an armor you can actually use and benefit from. It's the dumbest concept, and I'm glad this game actually recognizes it and has a way around it. It's also nice to have some meaningful side activities. Even if you find a way to power level, you still have to go back and do the bounties, do the solo dungeons, random quests, etc. because the rewards are actually great. They give permanent stat boosts, or unique items that have perks you can transfer to endgame gear, or a skill point to level up your Chrono Watch. Lots of MMOs do this, so this isn't exactly something unique to Chrono or something that needs to be praised a lot, just something every modern MMO should have at this point, which Chrono does. Even Dawn of Liberty, an MMO praised for having a dense world full of activities that are actually meaningful, has this problem to a certain degree. Some of the rewards are useful, I'll admit, but the vast majority are useless as soon as you hit max level or have progressed through the endgame. We literally won first place in the Blue Squadron GVG tournament, and I promise you half the roster, including me, hadn't finished the main quest and at least half the side quests in the game, and this was months after launch. The core loop of the game seemed to be pretty well established. You level up doing literally anything, but there's ways to power level, of course. It wasn't super grindy at all. 15 was the soft cap for the beta in terms of levels from questing, but you had people push all the way to 25 just grinding mobs for 4 hours total, which I have to mention is obviously not the intended way, but it highlights how open and versatile the leveling is. I think it's safe to assume you'll hit max level in like 2 to 3 days max when the game is complete, just from quests and activities alone. I doubt you'll ever have to grind mobs like we did in this beta. There didn't seem to be any major time gates in progression. I was caught off guard a little when I saw a daily limit on upgrade mats with the vendor, which goes against what they said in a dev interview, but I quickly realized you get like 20 of these from one dungeon, and you also get keys every time you kill an open world boss, and there's plenty of those around on the OCed. So I'd categorize this as more of a quality of life thing akin to, oh shit, I need 3 more shards to upgrade my weapon, rather than a daily. There's also these void nexuses every hour, which give you a certain mat for one of the mid-game armor sets. So overall, nothing that holds you back from progressing. Your time is very much respected here. This isn't one of those schedule-based MMOs where if you want to play at 4 AM there's nothing to do and you're forced to log off.
Oh yeah, it's gotta actually be DD, right? There's no way. Why is he up on this game at 4:30 in the morning?
The progression is very independent and based on your own pace. And I know it sounds a little premature to talk about Endgame, but you can very much tell that Endgame is going to be exactly like this too. Like, you could straight up craft the endgame armor in this beta if you wanted to, it's just we didn't have the means to level to 40 to be able to equip it. There is also a trading post where you can buy and sell mats and crafted stuff, but there is no player-to-player trading it seems, which is good and bad I guess. Just based on all of that, the real grind in endgame I would say is just min-maxing your armor and weapons. I'm sure most people will have full legendary gear in a few weeks, but the perks on it do change your playstyle a lot. Movement speed when you dodge, immunities, stunning people when they hit you, extra damage when you're above 50% health, stuff like that. These are all perks you can actually set freely and change whenever you want, with no real cost. You just need to acquire the item that originally has this unique effect from a quest, dungeon, or some other place. Like if I'm transferring an effect from this green helmet to a crafted blue, the green helmet isn't consumed here. It's very casual friendly in that regard. You get it once and you essentially have this perk always in your library. The stuff below it on the other hand is something that's randomly rolled when you upgrade a piece of gear to +5. On the bright side, what they've done is let you disenchant gear back to 0, so you could enchant it again and again and hope it gets a better effect. So there's not really any fear of ruining your perfectly rolled weapon or something by getting a bad effect when upgrading it. There's no RNG on top of the RNG like other MMOs have it. The materials used here are the same ones from the daily vendor, but again, I have to emphasize, I soloed one dungeon for about 20 minutes and got enough materials from there to upgrade like 3 pieces to +5. Versus if I just relied solely on the vendor, I would maybe at best get 1 piece to like +3 or something. It's very forgiving compared to other MMOs I would describe. You can't blow anything up, and so far I've not seen any RNG downgrading or upgrading, it's all guaranteed. Essentially, if you choose to do this RNG min-max grind where you're enchanting and disenchanting your gear, it's about a 20 to 30% increase of power I'd say, which is definitely not going to be required I think for PvE, considering your skill matters a lot more than some extra damage. Like if you're really good at the game, you could straight up kill all the bosses at level 1 without getting hit. It does have that Dark Souls factor with all the bosses and there's no force damage gimmicks in any of them so far. If you're a PvPer on the other hand, you would definitely want to try to stack PvP damage boost and PvP defense increase on each gear. I'm sure there will also be rare items from bosses or other dungeons that have their own set of unique perks too. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but based on what they said in the dev interview and what the current gearing system is like, I very much see this as having a horizontal progression endgame similar to ESO. Basically, they release a new dungeon or piece of content, and it has gear there which you can acquire that has a unique effect that you transfer to your main gear. Just speculating here, of course. But regardless, nothing that I've seen so far directly contradicts what they said their game was going to be. I actually went through the dev interview and gameplay overview videos they released and made a proper list of everything with my notes on them. The only things that weren't in the beta were the PvP zone, the Eden activity where you do a randomly generated dungeon in a PvE-PvP setting, and this other activity called a vault that actually wasn't mentioned in any video, but you could see it in game and it would tell you that it's not available for this CBT. Of course, none of this actually means anything if the combat is bad. The combat of an MMO is the most important aspect of it. Doesn't matter if you have all the content in the world, if the combat is bad, the MMO is bad. And I see potential here with the combat. Am I fucking crazy here? You have people comparing this to Blessed Unleashed and it's like, do we play the same game? The combat is decent. It's not amazing, but it's not like a 0 out of 10 combat system. It's better than Tab Target at least right now, and it's obviously going to be improved on by release. Even right now, like let's say we could time travel back in time and this game had no performance issues and it had no graphical issues, the combat wouldn't get as much hate as it did. It's the culmination of playing at 30 to 60 FPS, which I don't know how these console players do it by the way, and the shitty graphics with the clunky animations that seal the deal. Surely at least 2 of these 3 things are going to be fixed before the next CBT, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. The 3-day beta is over, no one's going to talk or think about the game in like a week. They need to sit down and fix their shit, do a new beta just like this, and if it's good, then it's good. People will forget the last beta. And if it's bad at that point, then the copium is kinda gone, you know? The game is done. There's only so much they can do in a short amount of time. I played the Dune Awakening beta a few months before launch. The combat was terrible. They weren't going to make a completely new and better combat system from all the feedback they were getting that it was terrible in just a few months. The time for feedback was long over. They didn't change a single thing about the combat and release it as is. And I didn't play it. Simple as that. So that's it. I think the game has potential. More potential than fucking Ashes of Creation and Ion 2, that's for sure. And I hope I'm right. I really want to play a mainstream action combat MMO before I'm old and frail like the people still playing WoW. My channel originally started with MMOs, and it kind of always had that mindset where I'm always playing a new MMO, no matter how bad it is, until the next one releases and I switch to that and hope it's better than the last one. And it's kind of like an endless cycle. I'm beyond that at this point. Throne of Liberty was my fucking limit. I did that with Throne of Liberty and I just can't do it anymore. If an MMO is shit, I'm just not going to play it anymore. And that applies to Chrono as well. If it's pay for convenience, I don't care at this point. But if it's pay to win like Throne of Liberty where you can drop thousands for the best weapons and armor and cloak, whatever, I'm skipping it. If it's low skill ceiling like Throne of Liberty 2, I'm just going to dog on Throne of Liberty this entire video. I'm skipping it as well. As much as I bash on Tab Target though, I'm not ruling that out completely. I will absolutely play a high skill ceiling Tab Target MMO that incorporates iframe dodging and other modern mechanics like Throne of Liberty. I just can't have the pay to win scripts and rock paper scissors balancing that TL has on top of all of that. Swords of Legends, a very niche dead on arrival MMO that I briefly played, had the same sort of tab target iframe dodges, and I loved it. The skill expression was huge, like 5 times more than TL, mainly because there was no pay to win. The gear, it was super less reliant on gear to the point that your gear barely mattered. Everyone had the same gear, and it was an arena-based MMO. So the only thing that really mattered was your arena ranking. And of course, there was no rock, paper, scissors balancing. But anyways, getting a little off topic here. What I'm saying is, we're very close to 100k subs. A third of my subs at this point are Star Wars fans, because I'm making Star Wars Genesis. Another third is from random RPGs and shooters that I played. And the other third, finally, are MMO players. I love that I can just upload whatever I want at this point that I'm passionate about, and people watch it. I'm not the biggest creator, and I definitely have low views compared to others my size because of my split focuses and PvP niche, but I'm happy. I'm happy that I don't feel like I have to play shit games for my YouTube channel anymore. I'm not in this for the money. This is not my career, and it doesn't matter that I'm a Chrono partner. I'm gonna be real with my feedback no matter what game I play. They don't pay you for being a partner, at least not that I know of. They're definitely not paying me. And either way, my Star Wars videos get 10 times more views and donations. And yet here I am uploading Chrono Odyssey PvP footage that gets 2k views. This is my hobby. I like making PvP videos, simple as that. If it's good, I'll play it. If it's bad, I'm not playing it. That's my new motto for the channel going forward. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Sure, not a lot of you are watching right now until the end of the video, but if you are, thank you. And hope to see you in the next video, wherever it is.